When should you claim Social Security? 62, 67, or 70? Here's the short version. Claim at 62 and you lock in a permanent cut of about 30% for life. Wait until your full retirement age, 67 for most people watching this, and you get the whole benefit you earned. Wait past that, and the check grows roughly 8% a year until 70. Then it stops growing, and there is no reason on earth to wait past 70. In dollars, a benefit worth $2,000 a month at 67 pays about $1,400 at 62 and about $2,480 at 70. Same person, same work history, same paperwork. Over $1,000 a month between the two doors. That's the short answer. It's also the one that gets people into trouble because almost everybody asks the wrong question first. I'm Arthur, 30 years in an ordinary job, retired at 52, and now I explain what nobody explained to me. Quick, honest note. This channel uses AI tools for the voice and the visuals, and nothing here is financial advice. This subject runs on rules, and the rules get adjusted every year, so I'll tell you what to verify as we go. For a decision this size, a fee-only fiduciary is worth what they charge. Now, why isn't it as simple as wait? Ask most people how they picked their claiming date, and you'll hear one of three answers. I wanted to get my money's worth. I paid in, I want it back. Or the honest one. I was tired. All three are the same question underneath. How do I come out ahead? And that question turns your retirement into a bet on the date of your own death. You are guessing when you'll die and letting the guess set your income for the next 30 years. Here's the question that actually works. Which paycheck do you want protecting you at 85, the small one or the big one? Because that's what this is. Social Security is not an investment you're timing. It's the load-bearing wall of an American retirement. Everything else in the house can be moved. The portfolio, the part-time work, the house itself. This is the one income that arrives every month whether or not the market cooperates, adjusts for inflation every year, and cannot run out while you're alive. There is nothing else in ordinary financial life that does all three. You don't optimize a load-bearing wall. You make it as strong as you can afford, and then you stop thinking about it. So stop asking whether you'll come out ahead. Start asking how much wall you want standing at 85, 90, 92, the ages your plan has to survive, not the ages you feel like planning for. 4 things decide the answer. Here they are. First, understand what the 8% actually is. Between your full retirement age and 70, waiting a year adds about 8% to your benefit. That is not a market return. Nobody is investing anything on your behalf. It's written into the formula. A legislated inflation-adjusted raise for holding off, and it shows up whether the market had a magnificent year or fell out of a window. Compare that honestly. Historically, broad markets have averaged somewhere around 7 to 10% a year over long stretches, before inflation, and past performance does not guarantee future results, which is exactly the point. The 8% from waiting carries no such asterisk. It's the only guaranteed raise most people will ever be offered, and it's offered exactly once in a narrow window late in life. There's a second layer nobody mentions. The annual cost of living adjustment is a percentage. Apply the same percentage to a $2,400 check instead of a $1,400 check, and the gap between the two doesn't stay $1,000. It widens every single year for the rest of your life. Waiting doesn't just buy you a bigger check, it buys you a bigger raise forever. And one number to keep straight, the 8% stops at 70, not 69, not 72. 70. Waiting past it is pure donation. Second, the break-even math, and why almost everyone reads it backwards. Run the arithmetic, and you get a crossover somewhere around age 80, give or take a couple of years depending on your numbers. Claim early and die before it, early 1. Live past it, waiting 1. Simple. So people run that calculation, look at it, and think, this is a bet on how long I live. It isn't. Look at which way the risk points. If you wait and die at 75, you lost. But you're dead, friend. You have no financial problems. If you claim early and live to 93, you spend 26 years on the small check in your most expensive and least flexible decade, with the least ability to do anything about it. Those two outcomes are not the same size, and no honest math treats them as equals. That's why this is an insurance decision, not an investment decision. You're not betting on living long, you're insuring against it, because living long is the expensive outcome, and it's the one you can't opt out of. And the odds aren't in the direction people assume. A 62-year-old American today has a real chance of seeing their mid-80s. And for a married couple, the odds that at least one of the two reaches 90 are better than most people would guess. Your plan doesn't have to survive your average life expectancy. It has to survive your long one. The math is patient. People aren't. Third, the trap that catches people who claim early and keep working. This one costs real money and almost nobody sees it coming. If you claim before your full retirement age and you're still earning, there's an earnings test. Above a certain income, as of recording somewhere in the low to mid 20,000s a year, the government withholds $1 of benefit for every $2 you earn over the line. Keep a decent part-time job and claim at 62, and you can watch a meaningful chunk of the check you just turned on simply not arrive. Now here's the part that gets reported wrong on the internet: that money is not confiscated. When you hit full retirement age, they recalculate and credit you back for what was withheld. It's a delay, not a robbery. But a delay is still a wrecked plan. People claim at 62 because they need the cash flow now, budget around a check that never fully shows up, and end up cutting hours to stay under a line they didn't know existed. They arrange their working life around a rule they'd never read. The practical takeaway is an ordering rule, and it's simple. If you're still working, work first and claim later. Earned income and an early claim fight each other. Earned income and a delayed claim work together. The job covers the years while the benefit grows 8% behind your back. That's the same order that makes a small portfolio go a long way, which is the whole spine of the episode this one came from. Fourth, and if you're married, this is the one that matters most. Your claiming date doesn't just set your income, it sets your spouse's. When one of you dies, the survivor doesn't keep both checks. They keep the larger of the two. The smaller one stops. Read that again, because it changes the arithmetic of the whole household. The higher earner's claiming date isn't a decision about one life. It's the floor under two, and it stays standing for as long as the second person lives, which, statistically, is usually years after the first. So the version of this decision that actually works in a marriage generally looks like this. The higher earner delays as long as they can stand, because that check is the one that has to survive both of you. The lower earner has more freedom to claim earlier if the household needs income now. Their check is the one that eventually goes away. I've watched a widow in her 80s live on a check that a man in his early 60s chose, 25 years earlier, on a tired Tuesday, without knowing he was choosing it for her. He wasn't careless. Nobody ever told him the check had two names on it. Now it has told you. Now the honest part, because always wait is advice, not truth. And I promised you principles from a man who's had time to test them. Claiming at 62 can absolutely be the right call. Here's when. If your health is genuinely poor, the insurance logic flips. You're no longer insuring against a long life. The long life isn't the risk. Take the money. If the work is destroying you and there's no other income, take the money. A permanent 30% cut is expensive. 3 more years of a job that's breaking your body is more expensive, and there's no calculator that prices your knees. If you're single with no survivor to protect, Mechanism 4 doesn't apply to you at all, and the decision gets simpler and more personal. And if waiting would mean draining your savings to zero to get there, that's not a strategy, that's a tightrope. The strongest version of delaying assumes something covers the gap. Part-time work, a modest portfolio doing bridge duty, lower fixed costs. Without a bridge, waiting can put you in a worse spot than the smaller check would have. One more, quickly, because it's the fear I hear most. What if they change the rules before I get there? Nobody knows, and anyone who tells you they know is selling something. What I'll say is this: historically, when this system has been adjusted, the changes have been phased in on people who were decades away, not on people already at the door. Fear is a poor reason to lock in a permanent 30% cut. And one thing to have priced before any of this: Medicare doesn't start until 65. Retiring at 62 means 3 years of health coverage you buy yourself. I walked through those bridge years in the full video on retiring at 62 with $200,000. It's the decision that sends more people back to work than any other. My brother-in-law, Dave, warehouse supervisor, 39 years, knees that sound like gravel, called me on a Sunday and said, "Just tell me the number." I didn't give him a number. I gave him a question. Which check protects you at 85? He's 64 now, 2 mornings a week at a garden supply store, smells like potting soil, hasn't touched Social Security. It's grown every year he's ignored it. He tells me tomato plants are better company than middle management. If you keep nothing else from this, it's not, when do I want the money? It's, which check do I want protecting me at 85? Answer that one, and the claiming date usually answers itself. 62 if you have to, 67 if you're steady, 70 if you can build a bridge to get there. And the bridge, not the birthday, is the real project. The other 4 decisions Dave had to make, the bridge years, the work question, what the savings are actually for, and the house, I laid all of them out in the full video on retiring at 62 with $200,000. If today's question is live in your kitchen right now, that one is the next thing to watch. Take care of your money. It's quietly taking care of you.